Hello and welcome back to another episode of What's Your One Thing? I'm your host, Jordan Hiller, and we are continuing on our little side quest with the new segment called Help Me Understand. And this series is all about music. To get a little bit more detail, I really do advise listening to my last episode that will give you more background and understanding and add context to this interview you're about to hear. Today's episode, we are talking to the lead singer and drummer for the band Traveling Suitcase, Nicholas Raymond. But he's more than that. He's a friend, a husband, and also a savant with words. Listen closely to how he describes not only music, but how it makes him feel. I didn't want him to pretend to be anyone but himself, so this is the unabridged and unfiltered version. To all of my younger listeners, there is a lot of explicit language, so if you're listening, Cora and Alice, you've been warned. Might want to skip this one, Jimmy. Welcome to the podcast, my friend, Nicholas Raymond, where he takes on the challenge of helping me understand music. I need somebody that understands music, and I thought of nobody else better than you to reach out to and just maybe even go back to some of the basics and just what's music mean to you and how did your journey even start?
I really liked records. I fell in love with like the act of putting a record on the record player when I was pretty young. Elvis and the Eagles, like the Eagles was huge and still is really big in our family. And Phil Collins, like crazy. I really loved Michael Jackson. Prince as well. I would love to put like big fancy boots on and dance a lot when I was younger. But I really love to groove. That is a known fact about me. I love rhythm. So I think that was the lure subconsciously. Just drawn to the element of being whoever you want to be through it. It had a freedom to it. It was very fluid as well. I think I like fluid identity just throughout my own music and my lifestyle and just who I am in general. Fluidity has just always been really important. It's always just pulled me naturally, like an intuition. Music was art, like I was born with it. It wasn't something that I found. It was just like something that was already burning. I'm a very Vata body. Like I really am on such a high frequency. I always have been, and normally, like, and I'm very happy, a very optimistic person. I really like that. So most of the music that I've always been really drawn to is something that's very rhythmically driven and then something that has a good message because I really feel like music is a manifestation or a spell, right? So like what you're putting out there is kind of what you're going to get back, and what you're representing is going to either be you're living the dream and you're living the nightmare at the same time, or you're being inauthentic, or but there's seasons of authenticity because we change so much, right? So we've seen David Bowie become so many different versions of David Bowie into Ziggy Stardust, and then back into David Bowie, Prince into being just Prince, and then a symbol, and then back into Prince. There's so many different ways, but those are like the things that I've always been attracted to: is the androgynous nature of letting it shift and be what it is. That's my lure.
I mean, just wow. Incredible. How Nicholas talks about music is fascinating. His depth and understanding of the medium is mesmerizing. The way he talks about the artists and their journey, you can feel his passion. I asked him to dive a little bit deeper into the creation of music itself. What does it take to create something like an album?
Making a record is like telling a story, making a photograph book, or like what are you saying? What's your spell? What do you want to pull out of this? What do you want to say about yourself? What are you saying about yourself? Are you sad? Are you proud? Are you insecure? Are you angry? Or do you want to convey all of those emotions in your album? How does that duality feed it? But I think like my biggest draw to it has just always been the ability to shift within its seasons and within, especially genre. I don't really care about many genres. If you ever talk to my wife, she's always just like, I don't know how you know so much music, because it really can go from like Buena Vista Social Club to ICP, and you're just like, dude, what? It doesn't make sense, but I just think that there's a reason that everybody makes art, and I think that there's a reason I'm really obsessed with the why.
Yeah.
Like because I think it's such a gift that we can communicate through that stuff, and it's always hit me very intuitively and very emotionally. Again, because I feel like I woke up and was like, music, for sure, let's get this done. Let's do this.
You said a couple of things in there that it's your why, and you said it's burning inside you, so it's something that you've always felt. And I guess when I look at it from my standpoint, I was so concerned with being put into a social group by listening to a certain genre that I think that scared me. So if you listen to this, you are X type of person. In my childhood, I needed to be a chameleon. I needed to be able to shift from one spot to another. And if
Okay.
you had any strong hold or opinions on anything, I couldn't have the fluidity. So we almost have this duality or this reverse concept of fluidity, whereas in your fluidity was within music itself, and mine was completely like, no, I can't be associated with it because I need to be able to maneuver between the lines. So
That
it's
sucks
kind of
because
weird
that
how.
then you've almost locked a big part of yourself from yourself almost, right? Because I think that music really ties a key to self-discovery because of its expression, you know?
And you are 1,000% right. I'm kind of getting goosebumps right here because my biggest thing is I spent so much of my childhood and even early adulthood pretending to be so many different things
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I hit my 30s and I'm like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
that's
that's
just,
pretty normal for, I mean, if we're searching, right, we should
yeah.
always kind of be like, fuck, I don't know who I am. Or, you know, if we look back, we're like, I don't know who that person was. There's a lot of stuff that I was doing, and maybe that's it. Maybe we intuitively know a little bit. We kind of want to kick our own ass in hindsight or foresight if we aren't growing enough. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that people put you in a box in the weirdest of ways because I feel music has always been escapism or freedom to me.
It's kind of insane, right? How two people can look at music almost in the same light with this fluidity, but have two completely different feelings about it. Now, I wanted to find out some common ground, and I figured the best place to start would be film. I personally love film, and that's something I can understand, but I wanted to hear how Nicholas's approach or appreciation for film and looking at it through the lens of music.
All right, let's start with the best film of all time, with the best scorer of all time, Mr. John Williams. We'll go with E.T. And I think that that soundtrack specifically, too, there's that piano piece where it kind of goes in that major, falls into that minor, where like it hits your stomach when you know E.T. is gonna get sick. You know what I mean? Like the piano part that once lifted them and they were flying and it was the believing and the we watched the telepathic connection happen through E.T. and Elliot, and then you experience it through the music. I feel like is really transcended there in those moments. And then when E.T. gets sick, you feel it just as hard because the symphony within it that Williams creates just like changes and shifts it. I feel like
Mhm.
Steven Spielberg and Williams did so much stuff like that back in the day, and they really set the bar for cinematic stuff. And then you've got, I don't know, I really love movies and I love movie scores and all that stuff too.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause here. For those not watching on video, you'll start to hear that we get a third guest that jumps in on this interview. My youngest daughter, Indy, likes to be a part of the show, so I'm trying to wrangle her during this section of the interview. All right, bear with us here. Yes. All right, hold on. I'm going to pause, baby. I got to set you down. You want to say hi?
Hello.
This is
Hi.
Indy. Say hi, Nicholas.
Indy. Hello. It's like Indiana Jones, especially Indiana Jones. Without
Yeah.
those soundtracks, without that stuff, I feel like same thing, man. It just wouldn't feel the same.
And that's why I am starting to understand that it's not that I don't understand music, it's that I've had this mental block towards it
Okay.
pretty much my entire life because the way that you're describing the film or the score to the film, I can describe the same thing just about the film in general, but the
Yep.
score just adds this extra layer. And that's what I'm slowly trying to kind of break away. And I think you're right. There's a lot of like internal stuff that I need to kind of release to be able to enjoy it because I want to love music. I want to understand music. So I guess what would you recommend as like a starting point? Hey, if you're just trying to, is there a band, a genre? Is there what's the gateway drug to music?
Like to feel it?
Absolutely. The worst interview question of all time. Look at his face. All right, Nicholas, I'm so sorry, but you bounced back from that perfectly. All right, back to the show.
Man, I mean that's your journey. You know what I mean? It's so elemental, right? I always say like live music, live experience is a really good way. I don't know how, that's a crazy question, you know? There's not like a band, there's not a vein. I don't know how to make the breath of music. I don't know how to
Well,
breathe that shit into you, man.
when's the last time you had that? Because I know you're a musician and you're a musician's musician, so you
Man, I
concept.
would say animals as leaders. Right before we left Colorado a couple years ago, they opened up for Incubus at Red Rocks, and Incubus is perfect. I've seen them so many times; they're incredible. It was an amazing show. It was emotional for so many reasons. 'Cause there was so much pride and so many things, and also excitement about coming back here. There was so many things that were happening
Oh,
all at
hold
once.
on,
But
buddy. I just gotta
animals,
stop you for a second.
oh yeah, you're
Right.
fine.
All right, wait, don't leave. I'm so sorry to interrupt the show again, my friends, but we're going to take a quick break. And no, this isn't for an ad. I needed to change my daughter's diaper. And Nicholas was such a trooper during this whole process. But as I stepped out to go downstairs, I found out he had this amazing conversation with his wife that really changed the course of our whole conversation. All right, you're going to hear this sidebar talk with Nicholas and Sierra, and it kind of leads us down this new amazing path. And it's funny because it was all sparked by my super shitty question I asked, and they're kind of just, you can hear them going back and forth, and you kind of get a sneak peek behind the curtain of his thought process when he comes back to this talk about music, and he uses words like polyrhythm, and he'll talk about finding his spark, and it's just absolutely amazing, unscripted. You couldn't have planned this any better if I tried. Okay, folks, back to the show.
I mean, there's so many different bands. There's so many different genres. It's so important. Yeah.
Jacket, touch me and let me scream around you. That song's beautiful.
Listen, I know a lot of people that.
That love country.
I mean, here's the deal. I really enjoy. There's a few country songs. Like, I mean, it's that emotive, right? If we can just unlock a motive, and it's like a spark, like a.
And some humans tie moments to music.
And that's kind of where I was going to talk about having my like spine rearranged to animals as leaders because I haven't heard polyrhythms like that ever.
I think people that put that on and they're gonna be like, what the?
Whoa, they don't understand it. But for me, I enjoy it because my brain works in a polyrhythm.
This just goes to show you, behind every great man, there's a great woman. Love you, Sierra. Okay, so now that we've got Nick's thoughts all together, let's get back to the show.
I had this really fucking cool moment. We're about to leave Colorado. There's just so many emotions happening, and so I didn't really know what to expect other than I was gonna fucking like it. Three piece, no words. It's all just polyrhythm, math, rock. It is just insane. Some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. I think half the crowd got it. Half the crowd was like, I don't know how to conceive this because it's a musician's band, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. It's a band that, oh shit, you gotta know music to really, really, really appreciate it. But it was so sick. It was so good. And anything that makes me crinkle my nose and I'm just, it's just, that's what I really like. And I think that's why I really like that rock a little bit more than any other style of music because I just like the edge and I like the attitude and the energy that it brings. I noticed that the guitar player from Animals is hanging out and he's right in front of us watching the Incubus show, and I was like, fuck. I felt really cheesy. I always feel like an idiot going up to somebody, especially because I play music and I know how these fucking interactions go. And it's like he's trying to enjoy Incubus. He just opened up for Incubus. He's in the moment.
Yeah.
And he's at fucking Red Rocks. But so I went up to him and I was like, dude, thank you for fucking rearranging my spine and giving me goosebumps that I'm gonna have for a couple months. That shit was tight. And he was like, oh, thank you. He's like, I can't believe that I just opened for Incubus at Red Rocks. And I was like, I know, bro, you did it. You did it. Then we hugged and it was like a good time. It was good because it was just as surreal for him, to be like, I have no fucking idea how I got here. I was just a big fan of music, and now look.
Listening to Nicholas retell that story and watching his eyes light up, it hit me. Maybe I love hearing about people talk about their spark because I'm still trying to find mine. And maybe that's where this whole journey of helping me understand music is really just this byproduct of me trying to figure out myself. At any rate, to hear him talk about music and musicians and polyrhythms, and even though I have hardly any clue at what he's talking about at any given time, I still can't help but be pulled into his energy and his passion. Just listening to him talk about it gets me excited because I want to feel like that. I need to find something that makes me crinkle my nose, gives me goosebumps that last for months, and realigns my spine. I was so fascinated by that concept, I asked him to explain it in a little more detail. Like, what does that feel like? What does that even mean?
So like when I really like something, I'll feel it. I'll feel it in my jaw. You know when you like eat an apple or something that makes your jaw react? So that music makes me cerebral like that. Like when I feel rhythm that I like, or when I get into polyrhythms, or when I'm playing drums and we're real locked in, I can feel it in my spine and I can feel it in my jaw, and like it's like I can like see it and taste it and feel it. It's fucking wild.
That's nuts. So,
Yeah.
I mean, is that how you feel in like your own creative process when you make
Oh
music?
yeah, definitely. I can see everything. I can see what a song looks like through its sound and color kind of simultaneously right in front of me. So like I can see the layers of how everything needs to be, yet where it's like a weird surrounding. I don't know. It's weird. It's like a knowing.
It's almost like you can see the flow.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, what is that Pharrell Williams Lego movie called? Piece by Piece. It is incredible, and I think it will really spark. And you love film, man.
Yeah.
I think you gotta go watch that immediately.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Piece by piece. I'm gonna go check that out now.
Yeah, you're gonna
And then,
love it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, I will definitely let you know how it goes.
And then you're gonna be mind blown with knowing how much the Neptunes and Pharrell Williams touched. You're gonna be like, I can't believe all this music that this guy made.
This is big me.
My friend, I know I've said goodbye like 3 times, but
No,
I'm gonna let you
good
go.
old fashioned Wisconsin goodbye. I need at least 10 of them.
Literally what it is. Okay, my friend.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, tell Sierra we say goodbye. No. All right. I've got a lot to unpack this week. If I've learned anything from this amazing conversation, is that music has a heart and soul all of its own. It's not tied to any one identity, person, class, or even genre. There should be zero shame or guilt attached to it. I'm really starting to like this new segment, as it's making me become the student instead of the teacher. I like that. If you enjoyed it as well, why don't you come hang out again with us next week, as I dive deeper down the rabbit hole that is called music. See you again next week, my friend. Jordan, out. I knew that you guys were going to come up at least once.
Daddy, you come.
Yeah, you go downstairs by your sissy. I'll be down in 10 minutes, okay? 15.
I think she muted you. I think she muted you for sure.
She did. She definitely muted me.
Yeah.
All right.
I was like, wait. I think you're muted again, bro. If she mute you again.
She muted me again. I don't